Week number 2, day number 2. My voice is Optimus Tom, and joining me is a longtime friend of mine, Mr. EGAD, your feed. What's going on, Dan?
It's going good, and glad you're joining us here on the NACL, the Salt League, as other people like to call it. But we have some really good games lined up for all of you. It's going to be a very, very fun night. We got 5 games, so we started a little bit earlier, as you guys can tell. But the first game we're going to be bringing you is Velocity versus Infinite Odds.
Yeah, and this is definitely a situation where both of these teams are hunting for a win. Velocity, unfortunately, starting this season with a 0-4 record, whereas Infinite Odds, well, at least they got 1 win, but they still have those 4 losses as well. Yeah. So both of these teams are definitely looking for something to prove. They're in the same division, too, in the Elder Lizard division. Mm-hmm. So they definitely want to have that one game over each other when it ends up coming down to breakers and everything. This is really kind of a confidence booster for them. If they don't wind up winning a game against a team in their division that's about the same rank as them, then they're definitely going to have to be looking to kind of correct what's going on.
Yeah, that's for sure. And we already have picks and bans coming in very fast. We have Velocity taking out that Corky, taking out the Jarvan, and then taking out the Vi. So 2 junglers taken away from Sicko Scott there. While the side of Infinite Odds going to ban away Lee Sin, Evelyn, and Elise. So 3 potential junglers from the side of NK Inc. getting taken away, but they lock in Zed.
Yeah, they gave up the Zed, potentially going to be in top lane or mid lane. Don't know if we're going to wind up having that going to Maple Street or if it's going to wind up going into Chris's hands. But NK Inc. is definitely one of the playmakers from Velocity. We've seen in the past, whether it was when they're in their LCS games or just even recently in the NACL, he's the one that really makes things happen for his lanes if anything's going to be generated there to begin with. So by taking out some comfort picks or some picks that they know that he can capitalize with, that's going to hinder Velocity's overall team composition a little bit, but it does give up some of those quote-unquote overpowered choices that are left open like that Zed.
Yeah, especially since Slacko and From Maple Street are switching their roles around. So Slacko's going to be taking that one mid, and From Maple Street is going to be going back to his fun little AD carry role. The side of Infinite Odds, though, picked up a very familiar face. They picked up Aatrox and Thresh. So they're potential jungler. Sicko Scott can take that one up there. We can see Ikenny bring it up top. We've seen a lot of players take Aatrox up top and do phenomenal things, notably Quas. And we're going to see Body Drop's Thresh play, which is one of his main supports.
Yeah, well, Thresh is always a playmaker for a team composition in general or just in that bottom lane matchup. And there's so many ADs that synergize extremely well with him. But going back to the Aatrox pickup, like you said, could be a jungle Aatrox, which you're seeing a lot more of in North America ever since we kind of got a taste of it from the EU side of things. I know that Fnatic were ones that really piloted him in the jungle there. But top lane as well, we've seen on even the European side with Wicked from Evil Geniuses, playing it more as a split pusher and a duelist, being able to create pressure cross map while the rest of the team is able to capitalize elsewhere on the map. It's a very, very strong pickup, and one of the only things that can really kind of go head-to-head against something in the late game that split pushes like a Shen or a Renekton or one of those tanky bruises that really can't move out of the way. Well, it's really hard for a tanky bruiser to deal damage to Aatrox, especially after he has some lifesteal.
Yeah, he gets that Blade of the Rune King, just becomes a huge monster. The picks that were coming in for Velocity, though, are going to be that Zyra and Orianna. So already they're making up for that Zed pick. They're going for an AoE synergy. They have Stranglethorn, they have Shockwave, and they have the kiting potential that Zyra and Orianna can use. And they also have the initiation potential they bring with the ball if they want to throw it onto that Zed when he ults in. But we'll see if they can make that come to fruition, while Infinite Odds do pick up that Ahri and Caitlyn. So Thresh, Caitlyn going to be that bot lane, which is very difficult to deal with. But I think Velocity may have an answer already, as they were hovering over Varus and switched to Twitch, but locking in Hecarim instantly for NK Inc.
Yeah, and Hecarim is actually a throwback for NK Inc. We haven't really seen him in the jungle all too often, but NK Inc. was one of the guys who, way back when we were still doing the Rising Stars tournament, Hecarim was kind of his go-to jungler. He played that, and he played a Mumu extremely well. So something a little bit tanky, maybe a little less damage dealing than the usual Evelyn or Lee Sin that we see him running. This is kind of synergizing extremely well. And as we see the final lock in here for Velocity, they're putting Maple Street back on Kog'Maw, which is something, like we said, back in the day, that was one of his go-to AD carries. If Draven was banned out, unfortunately, Draven not as powerful as he used to be, he would kind of go towards that Kog'Maw. So this is very, very familiar pickups here coming in from Velocity side.
Yeah, Kagura Zyra, I've never really seen that lane come into action, but now that I think about it, rooting as well as having him have the artillery activated and then just doing so much magic damage with that as well as the percentage, and then reducing armor with the spittle and having the slow coming out is actually a really deadly combination. And if they put that into a 2v1 as well and not want to fight against that Caitlyn Thresh, could be very devastating to an Aatrox up top. But we'll see if they initiate any kind of lane swaps while we look for the jungler from the side of Infinite Odds, it looks like, as they're hovering over that Nautilus.
Yeah, and this is something about the lineups. They don't necessarily have a lot of innate tankiness on either side. Zed, Orianna, not necessarily the characters you think of when you hear the word tank. Aatrox in the same vein. He can build tanky, although he's a lot better off with that Blade of the Rune King, going for more sustain, and then going into tank mode. So picking up somebody from the jungle like that Nautilus who could functionize as a tank during team fights in the early all the way through the late stages of the game is definitely something that they're going to want to have. Having the ability to create a pick with that the dredge line as well coming in for a gang, this is a solid way to synergize with a Thresh Hook, a way to synergize with the Ahri Charm, or a knockup coming in from Aatrox. So it's really going to accentuate the lane matchups that they have. Like you said, some of those lane slots could potentially put a hamper on their plans.
Yeah, and seeing Nautilus and Hecarim in the same game after it's been completely dominated by Lee Sin and seeing Vise all over the place, it's going to be a really interesting taste of the pace, as they will have a lot of gap closing and some very interesting mechanics they can bring into fights. But either way, this game is lining up to be very good.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Velocity, they're looking to try to get something going in a team fight kind of situation. They have the Hecarim Orianna initiation, which is superb. It used to be with the Shyvana Orianna way back in the day, but Hecarim coming back into fruition here, it's a very good initiation method. This is going to let Kog'Maw sit in the back rather unhindered, just wail away with this Bioarcane Barrage, and then have Zed be able to assassinate the primary target, in this case, either Ahri or Caitlyn. So they have a very team fight-centric comp, whereas like we said from the side of Infinite Odds, they can create picks and they can split push and pull Velocity across the map very easily. Aatrox is a threat anywhere on the map, solo or with the team, and Ahri and Nautilus going to be able to pick people out of position, as well as that Thresh Hook coming in, the Death Sentence, going to be very, very good at trying to disrupt what Velocity wants to do.
Yeah, and with that, we are going to head into that spectator delay and go to a quick little commercial break, and then when we come back, we will be loaded into match 1 of tonight. It's going to be Velocity Esports taking on Infinite Odds, so stay tuned and enjoy.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Here is the NACL week number 2, day number 2. And as you can see, the pauses are all done. We're about to jump into the game number 1 of the day, a rematch here of the first match of NACL, or at least for these teams. It's going to be Velocity Esports on the blue side and Infinite Odds over on the red side.
Would it be a Challenge League game without that first little pause to get the jitters out? But now, yeah, it would not. But now we are seeing pings coming in. The side of Infinite Odds is looking to rush towards that bottom brush in the bot lane, while we do have a nice spread coming in from Velocity to give them a nice little bit of safety. They put from Maple Street in the entrance towards their red, while Body Drop does drop that ward in the brush towards the mid lane. And one ward from Eminesis comes out on the ramp to the entrance of Infinite Odds red, as they do rotate around, and the side of Infinite Odds looking to make the move and go towards that tri-brush / red invade.
Yeah, Infinite Odds is the ones to make the first aggressive move in this game. Velocity, we said, this is a familiar composition with them, so they're going to be playing it just a little bit safe, warding to see where the junglers are going to be, and to keep tabs on Infinite Odds. We also didn't mention in Champion Select, they took away Orianna from Jinte, which is pretty much his, I'm going to go ahead and say it's his best champion. We've seen his best performances on that one, and so now we'll have to see how they wind up using it against him, and this may be why Infinite Odds is invading. They might not be in the most comfortable position.
Uh-oh, it looks like from Maple Street going to get caught out by a charm here. He's going to be forced to cleanse and flash out. Death Sentence not going to be in time there, and that is going to be the first set of summoners blown away from Maple Street, as now his bot lane is going to be in a little bit of jeopardy.
Well, you see why he took the cleanse there, but he probably wasn't banking on using it that early. Both summoners down. That's just going to be a small victory here for Infinite Odds. They take that, ward up the jungle, and walk away. Really good job blowing that at level 1.
Yeah, and with that early aggression, we will see as Velocity look to make an act on this red buff and look to steal it away from Sicko Scout, which is a move I would have never thought would have come out from them. And they will successfully get this one away, but I don't know if NK's going to rotate to his own red or go for his blue and hope that Sicko Scout doesn't go for it.
Well, what we did have from Velocity side of things was they put down wards in their own jungle by the red buff so they could see if Infinite Odds was staying or going. They saw that after they blew the summoners, they wound up going back to their own blue buff, so it was a safe red invade. Now it looks like NK Inc. just going to wind up stealing that one away, delaying Sicko Scott in the jungle, just being like, well, oh man, my red buff is gone. Now I have to go into Velocity side of the map. We have wards down, so it should be A-okay for them. They're just going to wind up trading buffs for a bit.
Yeah, and also Chris wasn't even near the lane. He was doing wraiths, so getting whatever XP and gold that he can. And we're going to see Sicko Scott steal with this red, so both jugglers are going to have respectively each other's buffs. and gonna look to see where they look to gank, as there are no summoners from Maple Street up top, so Sicko Scout, I feel like that might be his first target, and we will see where they go from there and how they try to look to snowball their lanes.
Well, with the lane swaps coming in, so we have the duos against the solo laners here from both sides. Normally, it's you want to go into a 1v2, you get denied a lot of farm, a lot of pressure put on you, and you take a lot of free damage and harassment from the support or AD carry as an exchange. Or you could start at a small jungle camp, get yourself close to that level 2, get into lane, and all of a sudden you're not as easily diveable by a jungler in a 3v1 situation. Yeah. So it's kind of become the standard here for both of those solo laners to do that before coming to tower.
Yeah, and already we see Sicko Scout rotating up top, gonna get spotted out by a ward in that Tribush. Chris has the backup potential from NK Inc, who is doing his golems, but will be spotted out by wards. You see Latman? Is it Latman or Lottaman? I'm not sure. He is looking to try to apply some pressure with those built-over Peacemakers, as well as body drop, using the traps and the passive from Flay to get some extra magic damage in on hit. And Latman just going to be content with shoving this one down, getting all the CS that he can, as well as all the XP, and just going to try to outscale that Kog'Maw Zyra lane.
Nah, I'm going to wind up going with Latman. I'm assuming he's the challenger version of Batman. That's what I'm going to go with.
Ladderman? He just climbs the solo queue ladder.
Oh, I kind of like that one. If he doesn't reach rank number 1, his power is diminished. But we do have Sicko Scout just relieving pressure on iCandy, actually helping them shove this lane against from Maple Street and Evaniscus. Kind of just in an attempt to get Aatrox a little bit safer farm. He does have about a 5 CS lead over his cross-lane opponent in Zed. He did go back and pick up a ward as well, so this is just going to be able to put that ward down, keep himself safe from any potential jungler dives, and I kind of like it. Whereas NK Inc on the opposite side, he's been power farming the jungle, so he's a slight experience advantage over Sicko Scout. Not too much, though.
Not too much at all. And now we're just going to see as NK Inc is rotating towards the wraiths of Sicko Scout and making the run towards mid, as he will be pinged out there. They're going to see each other, and nothing too much going to come out as body drop, looking to apply the pressure in zoning. That is the job of the support in the 2v1 to keep Chris away from XP, but really Thresh doesn't have that much potential to do it, as they are laying into the turret, but there's the shadow, and there is the AoE wave clear and shurikens that we're used to seeing from Zed, and using that to wave clear as much as possible. Sicko Scout up top, gonna go in onto from Maple Street. His flash does not back up, his cleanse is up though. We will see if he can use that to his advantage. The exhaust comes out from iCandy, and he does get the blood well popped. The red buff and the auto attacks coming in from Sicko Scout will pick up the kill, as now he's switched on to Evaniscus. That Kog'Maw passive will blow up on top of him. The roots coming out, does connect with iCandy down there. NK Inc is coming in from the back though, pops the ghost, has the charge. Gonna pop the W to try to heal up a little bit through this. Gonna keep spamming that Q button to get the AoE damage down. Can he pick up the kill on Sicko Scout? It's looking like he will miss the leap from Kenny Yu though. He has chased this one down. Can he get it? Needs one more auto attack. He gets both of them with the Q. And NK Inc with the Hecarim coming in will pick up 2 kills for 1, but first blood gold will go to Sicko Scout, while Chris almost taking out body drop, flashing in, gets exhausted. Does he have ignite? He does not. He just used it. Going out to body drop, he misses the shuriken. He jukes away from this one. Descent is coming in at the nice angle. He will drag him down. Latman is laying into him with all the damage he can. Auto attack with a flay coming in. Latman picks up a kill, and globally it was a 2 for 2. Infinite odds and velocity going even in the golds.
Oh man, Chris just had stars in his eyes right there. Thought he could get a kill on body drop, but he still had the exhaust. Had that shuriken connected, it would have been A-okay, and Chris could have shadow walked the heck out of there. But he winds up missing it and overcommits himself into death. Whereas in the top lane, it was a really good job from Maple Street. He got rooted in place by Sicko Scout's passive from Nautilus, but he didn't cleanse it away and try to run away. He dies and puts faith in NK Inc to come in and get the cleanup duties there. A little bit of overextension from the side of Sicko Scout to try to pick up a kill on Evaniscus, and with iCandy Yu getting his Bloodwell passive pop, all it took was 1 level 3 rampage for NK Inc to clean that one up. Pretty much, it's really great because Hecarim scales into the late game as a jungler extremely well, but on the flip side, you don't want to have a weak Zed, because if Zed can't feel damage, Zed is, well, kind of useless.
Yeah, you don't see him picking up the Blade of the Rune King or anything like that soon. It's just so rough for him to scale. You see already he's got Thorn Shield to try to combat some of the damage coming from the lane, and then picks up a Thorn's Blade for some damage, but that's not the damage he's looking for, as Pink Wards are coming out from the side of body drop, and he's going to clear and take control of that dragon area. We could look to see rotation from Infinite Odds if they want to go for that one, but Velocity not looking to want to lane swap anytime soon, as they want to keep from Maple Street farming up.
Yeah, Maple Street on Kog'Maw, he's going to wind up wanting to have that safe 2v1 lane. Whereas on the flip side, Caitlyn, while in a 2v1 situation, she can kind of rain some pain down in the tower a little bit easier. You actually see that that tower in the bottom lane is almost down, only about 400 HP left on it. This is going to prompt NK Inc. He power farms himself up to level 6 after getting that double kill in top lane. He's going to come over here and supply a little bit of backup here for Chris.
but so is Sicko Scott as he's roaming down. Chris at level 6. Who is he going to look for? The Flay comes in. They're targeting him down with the ultimate from Nautilus. He's going to dodge it with the Death Mark on a body drop. It's going to pop very soon. It did, and body drop will fall to NK's red buff as now they're switching onto him. The root comes in from the auto attack from Nautilus. Can they get this kill right now? Latman is level 6. Doesn't hit the Piltover Peacemaker. Gets the headshot. Doesn't look like he's going to go for the snipe. So it will be a 1-for-1 trade, trading Chris for that body drop support. And NK Inc. picking up another kill. Going to put him at 3-0.
Well, now we see why Infinite Odds put 3 target bans on NK Inc. We said in the Champion Select that this guy was going to be the playmaker for Velocity, and he's going to set the pace of how the game goes. He's already 3-0 on Jungle Hecarim. They thought they banned him out in this case. He still had a couple tricks up his sleeve here. Unfortunately, Infinite Odds, they do wind up getting that tower. They pick up another kill on Chris's Zed, and he didn't wind up picking up the kill. He's only got an assist to his name. So now, the Caitlyn Thresh duo, one thing Caitlyn does extremely well is push towers, rotate, and continue pushing down towers. So I wouldn't be surprised here if Latman winds up going back. How much gold does he have in his pocket here? Not quite enough for a BF sword or anything like that, so he might farm up a little bit more, but that threat of rotating Thresh Caitlyn is now completely on the table for IO.
You could almost say NK Inc. is not a one-trick pony, as he does have all those other junglers. I'm trying, okay, man? I don't know, but either way, we're having Icanu rotate down. They're sending Latman up top. Slacko's getting blue buff, and everything's going hunky-dory, as all the kills are on Hecarim, as you said before, and can scale very well into the late game.
Yeah, definitely. Hecarim's going to be a powerhouse if he gets a couple of items on him. He could be extremely tanky and still dish out a decent amount of damage to clean up in these fights, is what we already see him doing. When you apply that red buff on top of everything else, you're not going to be getting away from somebody who bases extra damage off of how fast he goes. So it's really a good way to chase people down, and so far we've seen him be very effective in these ganks or counter gank situations, but unfortunately it just seems like Infinite Odds, they're the ones stepping it up, and Velocity is reacting to it. I think it's kind of the way that Velocity's composition is going. We said they kind of want AoE team fights, get to the mid-game fight, maybe fight around a dragon or contest maybe a tower or something like that. Infinite Odds, the pressure in the beginning of the game is all going to be on them.
Yeah, and with that now, Chris is up top. Oh, he got a ton of damage off with that combo. And we do have NK roaming up there. He's got the Devastating Charge activated. The Caitlyn net came out, but the Hecarim ulti did go in. There's the Death Mark. Latman gonna get bursted down. The Exhaust will mitigate a little bit of that damage, but the Ignite from Chris picks up the kill. Red buff is being applied to body drop. I think they will not... Nope, they're not gonna decide to dive there. While in the bot lane, Icanu and Sicko Scott coming out. The cleanse to take off some of the damage there. They flash past it from Maple Street's heading away beautifully with this, but the knockup from Icanu comes in. The Massacre is active, and he will take him down. He has Blood Will available to him, so I think he's going to try to pop that one. He will. Sicko Scott going to land to Evaniscus while up top, and NK Inc. takes down the turret, and Evaniscus will get out of there. But in the end, they lost a turret, and from Maple Street being 0-2, not the best, but either way, they still picked up that global objective.
Well, both of these teams are focusing extremely heavily on the enemy AD carries. We just mentioned Caitlyn's going to be pushing down towers like a monster, and Velocity doesn't want that to happen, so they're trying to hinder her as much as possible. Flip side for Infinite Odds, Kog'Maw, he's going to be one of the only other AD carries that can outrange Caitlyn when they're sieging a tower with this Bio-Hurricane Barrage, so they don't want him to scale up into a point where he's going to be able to dish out more damage than Caitlyn before she gets that late game itemized Caitlyn where she can just chunk people down in a couple of headshot procs. So both teams extremely focused on the AD carries right now.
Oh my god, NK Inc. is going to look to come in to steal this dragon. He cannot. He smited a little too early. Sicko Scott is very low though. NK Inc. going to try to get some kind of kill while in the back line. We have Slacko getting ignited. Going to use Command Protect to stay alive. Jinte throwing in the auto attack. NK Inc. chasing this one down. Does go on a rampage while Chris gonna make Jinte flash over the wall. So they lose dragon, but they get one kill. So that's going to go a little bit in favor of Infinite Odds as they now secure about a rough 300 gold lead.
And that was a very interesting call from Infinite Odds, because now they're going to have a lot of damage put onto this mid lane tower. They might even lose it in this assault coming in from Velocity. They got a kill on the AD carry, had multiple members in the bottom lane, so their natural response was, hey, let's go do Dragon. Unfortunately for them, it took forever to kill Maple Street in that case. So we had NK Inc. take the tower with Chris, go back to base, heal up, and go pressure that Dragon that they knew they were going to rotate over to with all the vision they have on the map. So questionable call. They lose a member, they lose a tower, and they get Dragon. So all in all, not the worst for Velocity.
Not at all. And now we're going to see them look to ping on the bot tier. That was Infinite Odds ping, excuse me, as they want to go defend that one. They have only one more tier 1 left. Next is for the tier 2s to be the next objective for Velocity here. Looking a lot better this time around. NK Inc. 4-0 has pretty much all the team's kills besides that one that was thrown off to Chris after that top kill on Latman with the Death Mark. Now NK Inc.'s going to hold up mid, try to soak up the XP, and I don't think he wants to get caught out at all, but either way, he is snowballing very well. He's got that Ruby Crystal. I think he's going to build towards possibly a Spirit Visage as his next item. But either way, we will find out as now they look to hold off this push, and they do. While Chris split pushes up top like a normal Zed should.
Yeah, and Zed split pushing this early on in the game is a little bit of a problem for Infinite Odds. They can't really stop him from farming right now, and Aatrox, I don't think he's at that point where he could really duel him on equal items right now. So the levels are, first off, in favor of Chris, so they need to send 2 people up there to stop him rather than just 1, and this is letting Velocity move across the map and take control of it earlier on than Infinite Odds had wanted them to. In the flip side, this is also going to be getting Kog'Maw a little bit of safe farm in a 1v2 situation. We said before, the lane swap was to keep the AD carry safe, get him a little bit of farm, and get into the itemization he needs to be. And by using Chris as that distraction, Maple Street's going to be able to farm himself back up to close to where Caitlyn CS is.
Yeah, and being down only about roughly 9, we do have him still in that bot lane going up against iKennyU, while Latman and Body Drop are doing some jungling there, taking out the Wraiths, and looking to rotate mid with Jinte to help him in there. While up top, Sicko Scott is trying to zone away Chris, but NK Inc. on that pony gonna look to rush in potentially soon, but never mind, just backs on out and plays it safe on that Nautilus. I don't know if they might actually attempt to dive. The Deathmark's available, the Ignite is available, so we'll see if that play does come to fruition. While down bot, Kog'Maw is laying into this turret with the barrage, as well as laying into iKennyU.
Yeah, and actually in top lane, they do want it going on with Sicko Scott.
Yeah, the Deathmark was applied. It did pop, but not doing too much damage. While the dive with the DFG coming in from Jinte. The charm connects. The snipe comes out, and he is gonna get taken out. Sako gets dove by Jinte, but the tier 2 up top is taking so much damage right now. Going below half, might actually fall. They traded tier 1 in mid for that, though, while from Maple Street and Evaniscus just take this tier 1 turret bot and lay into iKennyU. They're gonna look to trade a tier 2 for a tier 1 mid, and I think they'll respawn in time to defend this one as Chris and NK do make their way back.
Yeah, so they get a lot of damage down on that bottom tower as well. It's about half health right now. So all in all, Velocity, they're evening up towers against a Caitlyn composition where they just kind of want to siege down towers. We see they do have a lot of pressure put down on this middle turret here. NK Inc. gets charmed too.
Gets flayed backwards, Death Sentence connects, and it gets hit into a trap. That was a beautiful chain of CC, but NK Inc. is still too big for them to deal with, as they do take him down below half, but they do not kill him, and he defends the turret with Chris over there, while this tier 1 on the bot lane gets taken below half and is slowly being willed away here by this Kog'Maw Zyra lane. Karma Zyra would be pretty cool.
That would be very interesting. I don't know who would be dealing out the damage in that lane, but because NK Inc. got so huge in the beginning of the game, being 4-0-1 right now, he was able to defend that tower with Chris coming behind him for backup. That lets Evaniscus and Maple Street put more pressure on bottom tower, and now a Caitlyn siege competition is even in towers with a late game Kog'Maw. That's not good for IO.
And they're diving into Evaniscus here. The Spirit Rush just came up. He dodged away from the Death Sentence while NK Inc. is just rampaging in the back, hits the wall, still picks up the kill with the red buff. The Bloodwell passive gets popped now. iKennyU, is he going to be able to take out NK Inc. here? Gets slowed, gets hit by the Flay, and he gets the double with the Rampage and takes one more hit from Body Drop, and it's not enough. The slow comes out. Ken from Maple Street clean up this kill. It does not look like he can double buff the Body Drop. Leaving there, finally ending the spree or the rampage of NK Inc. with those auto attacks. So trading 2 for 2. And that kind of goes in favor of Infinite Odds because they got all the extra gold off NK Inc.
They definitely got the gold off NK Inc., but if you're a Velocity player right now, you are so happy that all that bonus gold went to Body Drop of everybody.
Oh, yes.
So the support picks that up rather than having it go to like the AD carry or that Tide Me top laner.
Speaking of up top right now, they're doing a lot of damage to Chris. The snipe comes out. The ultimate from Nautilus is going to go through, but the snipe was enough to pick up the kill as the Infinity Edge Caitlyn snipe doing about 350 damage right there.
Yeah, now we see Infinite Odds. They do have kills in some of the right places. They have 2 on Aatrox, but they have 3 on Caitlyn, and she's going to be able to get some of those items before Kog'Maw is going to be able to. Infinity Edge, back before Kog'Maw could even finish his, he actually just went back and picked up the Crit Cloak as well as the BF Sword, so he's a little bit behind Caitlyn, whereas all the kills for Velocity, save for that one, are on NK Inc. And even though he's moving around and being able to set things up for his team, they're just not dealing enough damage right now to take those kills from him and try to further themselves ahead. So while we see that Velocity has a lot of AoE potential, they have some team fight potential. If the key damage dealers on that team aren't going to get fed enough, then Infinite Odds, who has the ability to pick people out, has the ability to hurt them, will kind of come out ahead.
Yeah, speaking of picking people out right there, they got a nice route as well as 2 gorgeous plants coming out to slow him down, but he just dark flights his way out of there while 5 members of Infinite Odds are grouped up with this bot lane. The ball is applied to NK Inc. He's looking to start a fight. That Ultimate as well as the Shockwave combination is huge for Hecarim play, so we could see that one come out while I can use. Bloodwell is still down and very low. He's forced to go back to base. All 5 members of Velocity are here. There's only 4 of Infinite Odds, and we are going to see if they can get this dragon for free or if Infinite Odds will combat it. They're all healthy. NK is tanky as a beast. He's got Phage as well, so going for Trinity Force Hecarim possibly here. There's the Lantern coming in. Chris is on the backside, gets hit by the net. Blade of the Rune King comes out. Sicko Scott fails the flash. The charm connects on Evaniscus. The root going out the front of the street gets cleansed as now they focus Jinte down. They're chasing him down. He's throwing out the death mark, and that is going to pop him and kill him. Cool guys don't look at explosions as Chris gets a double dark fight over the wall. Can you picking up the kill with the Massacre coming in? Who else can you pick up here? He's going on the Slacko now. Dissonance comes in. Shockwave as he flashes. Does not connect to anybody. Body drop with that double buff. Drop in the box. Getting NK killed with Latman. As now we're going to see as the Kog'Maw passive. Will it pick up body drop here? It is not enough range. He will be able to walk right on out of there. Dissonance coming through, as well as the root from Evaniscus. Keep him safe. Flash over the wall. Coming in from Latman. Can he get the crit? He gets the headshot and the kill. Critting out to Evaniscus, chasing him down. This is going to be a full-blown ace in favor of Infinite Odds as the last headshot taking the kill with the crit. Double kill for Latman. And 5 for 1 in favor of Infinite Odds. 5 for 2, excuse me. Sicko Scott.
And that's what we were talking about. Even though they wound up getting some kills for Chris in that dragon fight situation, it was a 4v5. So they wind up going out ahead until Aatrox comes in to go just full cleanup duty. He's picked up that Blade of the Rune King. We talked about how much of a monster he becomes when he gets that item. We see him right there doing an extremely good job at coming in afterwards and just helping the rest of his team clean up the fight. Yes, they blew up Jinte. Yes, they blew up Sicko Scott. But Jinte isn't a lot of the damage right now. I mean, he has a Deathfire Grasp, can put out a lot of it, but Aatrox and Caitlyn, they are the 2 main threats on this Infinite Odds roster. So you take out the tank and take out some backup damage in CC, but then the rest of the team is already low, and they just get blown up.
Looks like they're getting blown up in mid right now. Slacko getting dove on here. There's the Shockwave coming in, but it didn't connect with anybody, and he just died before it could even connect. So that is going to be Slacko dead. You see the ultimate is still available to him, so gonna have that for the next fight when he spawns, but it looks like they're not gonna try to make a next fight happen here as the taunt comes out, excuse me, the charm. Jinte gets blown up by the turret, and the damage coming through. Deathmark goes into Latimer, as now Chris is chasing him down. It's going to pop very soon, but Hecarim in the backline with the Rampage picks up the kill, gets a shot down goal. But 523 gold for him, as you see Destiny over the wall as body drop. Trying to juke away from this one. Those are some nice thrash mechanics. Body drop probably going to sacrifice himself here, as you can just dark flight out. There is the artillery and the Bioarcane barrage coming through, the damage coming out. Who's going to pick up the kill? It looks like NK's going to get flayed back on that charge, and the last kill is going to go to NK.
Oh man, just sacrifice for the greater good there from body drop, and he kept using the lantern to shield himself, kept trying to get himself further and further ahead because he wants to get that kill to NK Inc. and doesn't want Kog'Maw to get it. We saw Maple Street missing living artillery, running low on mana so he couldn't do it, and NK Inc. had to take the kill. So even though they wound up losing out a little bit there from the side of Infinite Odds, they put pressure. There's an exposed inhibitor turret there. They do get a couple kills, but they give some up on the flip side for their own. They have about a 2,000 gold advantage, and they have the gold on the people they need it. We said Caitlyn and Aatrox, they still have 5 and 6 kills respectively, whereas on the side of Velocity, only 1 kill has gone to Maple Street. 8 of them on NK Inc. NK Inc. is trying his hardest to turn himself into a carry jungle here. That's why he's going for that Trinity Force. He knows he needs to output damage in order to get them through this hump of a mid game, because right now the people that should be dealing damage on Velocity just aren't.
Yeah, and the build that from Maple Street went for is that Infinity's Edge Rush, as well as the Zeal, so going for PD as his next item. I'm used to seeing like Trinity Force Kog'Maws with Blade of the Rune King and just like shredding people away, as well as having so much mobility, but I guess that nerfed in Trinity Force kind of gonna make him shy away from that one, or maybe it's just not used to that item. But either way, they both have Infinity's Edge PD ahead of Zeal for Latman over from Maple Street, so that's going to be a huge effect for him. More crits coming out, more attack speed. While 5 members of Velocity are kind of hanging around towards that mid/top area, while ICANN and Jinte just push that bot lane and look to shove a tier 2 potentially. But NK Inc. from Maple Street are going to roam back to possibly defend that, as everybody's kind of grouping up towards this blue here.
Well, we do have a lot of members down over by the blue buff here coming out from Velocity. Like we said, we have ICANN split pushing on Aatrox. He has the Blade of the Rune King. Nobody really wants to get into a straight-up duel with him. NK Inc., being as steady as he is on Hecarim, might look to do so, but he has the Jinte support here, and while Velocity might not actually know it,
they're going to go back in, and there's the DFG and the Charm as well, and the last Spirit Rush through the Hecarim ulti will come out, but now they're going in up top. Can he get the Shockwave? The ball just disconnected, so not going to get it. There it is. The pause as Latman is at literally 0 HP. He is a dead dead Caitlyn, and we'll see what they can do to follow up, but very untimely pause. Don't have a reason just yet coming in from either of the players here. Lag spike, sorry, says the side of Infinite Odds, but either way, Latman is gonna die.
Yeah, speaking of disconnecting, well, it looks like right there at the lag spike, somebody in the game was disconnecting for a second, but, well, it looks like we're going to wind up getting the game back underway in just a second, just making sure the lag is all sorted out. But Velocity does a really good job of, as soon as NK Inc. says, hey, Jintae's on the bottom, he's not trying to pick you guys top lane, and that's not really a bait, that's a bait for me, they immediately jump on Latman, and as you'll see in about 3 seconds, he gets blown up.
And 3, 2, 1, dead. Sacco picks up the kill with the dissonance. They're going on to the Sicko Scott now. He looks to be taken out here as it's going to be from Maple Street picking up a kill finally. The second kill of the game. They're chasing down a body drop now, but it's not enough. They lose the tier 2 bot. They lost NK Inc., who just got demolished in that fight. But they're looking to trade for something up top as they keep on pushing with Chris and from Maple Street, while Slacko and Evaniscus did go back. So we'll see if they can hold off Jintae and Kenny, which it looks like they can.
Yeah, and well, it looks like right here, Chris pushing all the way down to that top inhibitor tower. So they have that exposed cross map positions. Now, the one on the bottom here from the side of Infinite Odds, they could take that one down fairly quick as they put damage on it. However, the one in the top lane for Velocity gives them better Baron positioning. So if they ever want to threaten Baron, they could very quickly rotate and take that top inhibitor or the inhibitor tower down. And in the same vein, if they're pressuring towards that top inhibitor tower, they could rotate down and easily go and contest the Baron for free if they make them go on the defensive.
Yeah, and if they do get another Oracles on the side of Body Drop, which they did, so he's doing a phenomenal job on the support, clearing all the wards, taking all the vision, control that he can. Evaniscus doing the same thing, has pink wards, has his Oracles for a little bit longer. Trinity Force was just finished for NK Inc. there, so foregoing any more tanky stats, going to be going for a lot of kill potential as well as movement speed with that one. And I realized that they only have the Phage proc for range, so Hecarim with 90, is it 90 or 80? Movement speed plus after getting a kill or a minion kill with that Phage, he could smite it, look to run in with the Phage procs, and just completely catch somebody off guard with the damage he could do. But right now, it looks like Infinite Odds is looking to 4-man push mid while I can use split spot.
Well, this is what Infinite Odds had wanted to do. They want to get Caitlyn into a siege kind of potential, and just sit back and just make sure that Velocity has to engage on them when they can have a decent amount of disengage, or the ability to maybe pick one out from under tower with an Ari Charm, Thresh Hook, Nautilus, Dredge Line. There's a lot of potential for them to pick up kills. However, Velocity, they kind of want to get into that AoE team fight situation. Orianna, extremely fed Hecarim, we've already talked about, and then Kama to clean it up in the back. They have the ability to just kind of be like, well, if you want to siege down on us, we're going to fight you. Aatrox, we know you're going to split push, so if Chris is with the team, Velocity has a superior fight. Now, they're actually going to go in.
A 4-man fear coming in from NK Inc. He's by himself. Death Bar comes in. NK Inc. getting chunked away. The Command Protect is going to keep him safe. The snipe comes out and no one blocks it. He will die as from Maple Street has the charm and it cleanse away from that. IKNU though going to get exhausted and taking out that Blood passive. Latman trying to keep him safe. The root comes out not the right time. The command attack does not connect. That's going to be a 1 for none and a very close trade. NK Inc. was not followed up by his team there as they do get a nice 4-man fear, but Ayo responds perfectly and just takes the 1 kill and backs out and not overextend.
Had they had NK Inc. and Slacko on the same page, that would have been devastating for Infinite Odds. They were all grouped up for that Hecarim ultimate. The command shockwave from Orianna would have let them just get torn to shreds by Chris and from Maple Street. Unfortunately, miscommunications in the Velocity eSports camp right there lead NK Inc. to charge headfirst into that one. The tankiest, the beefiest, the most fed member of Velocity goes down before anything else. He does get enough damage on Infinite Odds. They have to back up before they can clean up any more kills, but still, little miscommunication turns a potentially devastating fight into a victory for Infinite Odds.
As well as a nice dragon as they're rotating around towards that Baron pit, taking control of it, have a pink ward, have oracles, body drops, just clearing everything out again. He picks up another ruby crystal, so I'm assuming he's going to go for potentially Australia's here. He's forgiven any GP10. He hasn't gone for Fearless, so hasn't gone for anything, just complete vision control and mobility with those boots. So just taking control of the map as well as now having Evaniscus with its oracles, going to clear out that Baron side, throws a plan of the wall, has in the oracles, and they will clear out Baron.
Well, and this is like I said, if they wind up pushing towards that top lane, they have pressure on that side of the map, and they can kind of control Baron. Zed has gotten to a point with the last Whisper and Blade of the Rune King of his own. He can kind of go head-to-head against Ikenyu's Aatrox, but if he has the Bloodwell passive up, then Chris is going to be into a little bit of a bad situation there. So he can kind of force Ikenyu away from the split push while his team is trying to regain some map control. So see both these supports, the Oracle's Elixirs, making sure the ward control and the vision going to be extremely, extremely crucial as we round approaching close to the 30-minute mark. This is going to be when the Baron dances or potential just pushes down the lane are really going to wind up coming into fruition.
Yeah, and right now we do have blue buff going over to Jinte, and everybody picking up their buffs and moving around. For Military has red buff, so Ken use that to kite a little bit there. And we just have everybody hanging out towards this Baron pit. There's a wave slowly building up in that bot lane, so that's going to push towards the tier 1 that is still fairly low, which hasn't been pushed lately. And we are looking for another initiation to come out from NK. The ball is popped, the dissonance is ready, and was just used. So that's a little bit of a cooldown, as they are trying to catch a sneaky fight here. They want that Hecarim ult with the Shockwave combo. I can smell that they want that.
They definitely want to wind up doing it after whiffing one of the prime opportunities to do so just a couple minutes ago. And even though no one's really going for any sort of action right now, the farm is slowly but surely increasing on players like from Maple Street, who's overtaking Caitlyn's farm. So the more they play passively, the more the lanes are pushing towards velocity here. As we see, they're not really shoving waves to kind of equalize on the side of Infinite Odds. They're letting them kind of come to them and sit back and farm it up. Chris and Maple Street, they're going to love that, whereas Infinite Odds, they kind of want to make something happen before all of a sudden these carries that they've kept so low throughout the game wind up coming back into it. And it looks like the response here is going to be going for a Baron with cleared out vision.
All right, so they're not taking it down as fast as I thought they would be, as Hecarim is coming through. Are they going to be able to do anything with this? The pings are going down. This is frantic. This is where we see who can win the Smite, where NK Inc. has the W ready. He's not going to go with just yet. He goes in a little bit late, and Sickle Scott gets it, but they get the combo with the Shockwave in the distance. NK Inc. gets blown up, though. IKNU picks up that kill. He's on a rampage now. Deathmark gets a blood to Jinte, though, and they do take down Sickle Scott. And IKNU does not have the passive. His random is getting chunked out. Forced to flash out of there. Caught in a two-man route. He takes the lantern back in. Can he pick up the kill from Maple Street? No one's blocking the snipe. And double kill for Latman. And they do take down IKNU. It is an even trade. Latman almost getting taken out by that passive from Kog'Maw, as it is an even trade. A Baron of Infinite Odds go even with Velocity, who kind of mistimed that smite with NK Inc. at the wrong time.
Oh, so NK Inc. was in position to go and try to contest that with a smite steal. Evanisius had the plant scouting, which is extremely, extremely good, because you're not going to be able to put down one of those wards because it's going to get cleared out. You put down a plant, the plant attacks Baron, and Baron knocks up NK Inc.
Yeah.
So he winds up not being able to get the ultimate over the wall for the smite steal in time. However, they do get the initiation they want, and even though Infinite Odds is ahead, they got themselves a Baron and they had the buff for that fight. The Velocity is able to trade even in that situation. So they lose Baron, they lose the gold on that, but they gain the confidence that, hey, we can take a fight to them. So if they wait out this Baron, if they pick out on Caitlyn and get the Baron buff off of her, Velocity, they might be looking for another fight.
Yeah, and right now Body Drop is... If you looked at Body Drop's inventory when he left base, he had 7 green wards plus the Sightstone and an Oracle. So he is going to control this jungle so hard, as well as picking up a Kindle Gem for some extra health and cooldown reduction. We do have 2 members still baroned up on the side of Infinite Odds, that Body Drop and Latman. So they're looking to siege down this inhibitor turret and look to pressure. Inhibitor traps are going to get set up, so they're going to get that nice little proximity, as well as keep the backline safe for a little while until NK Inc. does want to look to through that. The traps won't stop that pony, as wards are coming out. Everything's getting cleared, and we are going to look to see potentially a inhibitor fight come down here.
Yeah, this is the siege that Infinite Odds wants to do with Caitlyn. She's one of the main members that has Baron left on their team, so they're going to try to utilize this while it's on her. However, coming out from the side of Velocity, they got some decent wave clear. You have Orianna with command attack, and then we have the Dissonance. Even Kog'Maw has some wave clear coming out with his living artillery, or even putting down the Void Ooze, and they're just going to be trying to clear these waves as quickly as possible. One thing they need to make sure is they don't get hit with a hook, they don't get hit with a charm, and they're grouped up together, so even if one of them does wind up getting initiated on like that, they could turn it around with that command Shockwave and Hecarim ult combo.
Yeah, that is probably one of the deadliest combos in the game. They're going at Chris right now. There is the jump coming in. He tries to go through with a shadow, blocks away from the Orb of Deception, but either way, he still goes down. The Deathmark is not enough to take down Jinte. Takes him down to about 300 HP, while IKNU is getting held off here by NK Inc. He is trading back and forth, though, very well. That passive coming in from the W ability, just chunking away at him with the Blade of the Rune King. So Chris is still dead for 35 seconds, and the side of Infinite Odds are not giving up the siege on the mid lane.
Questionable call there from Chris as he winds up going, he gets caught, and instead of using the shadow to go out, he tries to go back in and blow up Jintei in a 1-for-1 trade situation where, well, Jintei just wasn't going to be going down. Chris, I don't think maybe overestimated his damage or underestimated how much health that Jintei actually has or something, but wasn't able to get the kill on there. Now, actually, I'm surprised Infinite Odds, they don't push the advantage in like a 5v4 situation. Jintei did have to go back and heal though.
All right, so a little bit of relief for now, but either way, they still got that kill and still got Jintei another nice little play for him. He's 3 and 4 and 8. It's a little bit more of an assist mid right now. He does a ton of damage either way. He's got that voice step, he's got the DFG, and makings of a death cap. So no Zonias for him. Gonna be going full damage here and getting the blue buff away. So we're slowly seeing the suffocation come in here as Infinite Odds are taking away what they can. The death sentence comes through. He decides not to go through with that one. Flaying. And was it cleansed? It was cleansed instantly, so that's why I didn't consider.
Yeah, so the cleanse is burned now from Maple Street, so they're going to be able to have an initiation method. They catch him out again. Aatrox continuing to split push, and guess what? Aatrox deployed to the Rune King. He can also solo Dragon, so as we see that going down in favor of Infinite Odds, like you said, the suffocation is coming in. The split push from Aatrox, the siege potential from Caitlyn, and the ability to pick people out from Velocity is just suffocating them. We talked about before, Velocity, they're not shoving minion waves and trying to relieve map pressure. They're letting it come to them and trying to farm it up because they were so far behind early on. It's just coming back to bite them now because they have no map pressure. It's very dangerous to try to walk into your own jungle even without any wards up against a Thresh Nautilus Ahri.
Yeah. All right, so another Oracle's coming in from Body Drop as he leaves the base. He's got plenty more wards in his inventory. He's got that Sightstone fully stacked up, some potions, and yeah, just gonna keep pushing this one down. Bloodthirster finished for Latman. He's got the PD, he's got the IE, he's got the Holy Trinity of items. Not even, he's got the, actually, the, I don't know how you say it, the 4-piece, I guess, of items. He's got the Last Whisper PT, PD, IE, and BT, so just gonna look to push down and siege. These crits are gonna hit for a truckload of damage.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm just kind of looking here. Velocity, they need to have that big AoE engagement. That's pretty much what they need to wind up having in order to come out ahead from this one. If Chris is able to assassinate a target after the confusion comes in from the Orianna command shockwave and the Hecarim ultimate, then they're going to be able to pick them apart and just push down a lane and get that pressure by getting themselves super minions. If they don't have a fight like that, they're slowly but surely going to wind up succumbing to this pushing and prodding coming out from Infinite Odds.
The ball isn't even attached to Chris anymore. He's forced to flash back out in the death mark. Picks up the kill. That was Zed damage in a nutshell. I just destroyed Jintei.
Jintei a little in the middle of nowhere's land there in regards to where the rest of his team was. He wasn't grouped up with Caitlyn and Thresh in that regard, and, well, the pick composition gets picked off right there by some surprising burst damage from Zed.
Oh, speaking of surprising burst damage from Maple Street getting taken very low. He's ignited, he's dead. As they do pop the Bloodwell passive from iKennyU, the passive from Kog'Maw will tick away at that one. Here comes a Hecarim charging right in. There's the ultimate coming through. The Fear connects through the Dark Flight. NK Inc is going to chase this one down. Chris followed up with some Shuriken damage and will be able to get NK Inc a kill as they trade from Maple Street for that one. So 2 members of Infinite Odds dead, 1 still gone for Velocity. And Infinite Odds are having a tough time getting into this base as Sicko Scott did get very low but takes the Lantern right on out.
Yeah, Infinite Odds seems to look like they're having problems with just finishing the game, which is something that plagues a lot of the teams in the Challenger circuit. They get a large advantage, they have a composition that's good at pushing down towers or sieging, and then when the enemy just starts to defend, they don't really do anything with it. We saw Aatrox split pushing, and every now and then another member of the team would walk over there, when Aatrox can kind of do it by himself, and nobody can really duel him straight up 1v1, as we saw. Maple Street has some items on him, but he can't even take him down without a little bit of help coming in from NK Inc. Even the Fed Hecarim is having problems just 1v1ing against iKennyU's Aatrox with the Blade of the Rune King Randuin's and now Spirit Visage added onto that combo. They are going to wind up going over and try to take this Baron and force themselves into the base, but I just want to see, can they actually utilize what their team does to get into the base of Velocity, or is they just going to be walking into that fight they need?
Charm DFG Deathmark gets applied, but the crit from Latman gonna get that. Oh jeez, gonna get that kill as Jintei gets that one with the charm and catches him out. That's the perfect ward coverage coming in from Body Drop, having that whole area of blue buff covered, and Infinite Odds are back on the defensive once again.
That's what we talked about before. The problem about walking into even your own jungle with no vision against, well, Thresh, Ahri, and Nautilus, you get blown up like that, and Chris is a living example right now.
Yeah, and with that, you see the crits coming in from Latman, healing him up for plus 200, which is absolutely ridiculous. He can just take damage and then just heal right on back up with those crits. And for now, we do have Velocity still holding onto this turret, looking for a catch. Is body drop. He throws out the death sentence. He does not connect. And Sicko Scott gonna face tank this turret, get some shielding from the lantern. You see the damage come through, gets pulled all the way across. And body drop with that Oracle is gonna deny them even more vision outside their base.
Yeah, and they're slowly but surely wearing this tower down. Caitlyn goes up, gets a couple shots, and then nets and Peacemakers out of there. It's going to go down here, but in comes Velocity.
And they try to get the combination, but it doesn't connect with too many people. The Stranglethorn knocks the Jinte in the backline, while I Can You in the front just destroys from Maple Street, applies the Blade of the Rune King, going on to Hecarim. Chris tries to get in the back to take out Latman, not enough damage to come through. Slacko gets hit by the Death Sentence, gets taken out. It's going to be a double kill for Latman there, and an Inhibitor dead, and possibly the game, as I don't think a Hecarim and a Zyra can hold this one off.
As fed as NK Inc. is, I don't think he's going to be able to save the day 1v5 or 2v5 in this situation. Home guard's taken away, but he really can't do anything with it. And the Velocity thought they had the engagement they wanted, but once again, a miscommunication between ultimates makes their AoE team fight with a lot of damage turn into an AoE team fight with no damage. And there goes the game in favor of Infinite Odds.
Yeah, so that one's going to be packed up and ready to go for the first game of tonight. And speaking of packing up, if you guys want to check out our sponsor, it's Loot Crate. They provide really cool packages that deliver to you, and they send you some nice gaming related items, as well as you have a little subscription you pay to them. And if you do that, you help support the NACL directly, actually. So why don't you go check them out at Loot Crate. And we will be back with game number 2 of tonight. So we will see you very soon.